looks like we are going to tackle the AFC, championship game first today.
Let's do it.
All right. So I have some fun prop bets for each one of these games. Let's get to that in a second. First of all, let's go to the line. We have the Kansas City Chiefs favored by 3. The money line is minus 170. The over is 54.5. Seth, I got cleaned out last week for most of the weekend until the Buccaneers won and paid out. So that I have for my it's not even a traditional roller bet because I'm not going with the same team. It's just a weekly return bet that I just keep lumping together and moving to the next week. So I have just over 10 units for this week's rollover bet.
Yikes.
I've only got to put it on one place. That's the way we've been doing it. So we'll figure that out as we go along. First of all, do you like the Chiefs? Are you worried about Patrick Mahomes coming back from a really bad concussion? Also, the toe gave him trouble throwing all day long. What do you think?
I look at it this way is that both teams don't have what we would call really good defenses. And so it's going to be a higher scoring game, but I think that means that both teams are going to be in the game provided Mahomes looks like himself. I think both teams are going to be in the game until late in the fourth quarter. Mahomes, that toe thing is a little concerning because he started to look, mortal before he absolutely got his bell.
He really had trouble planting that foot to get his pass off, which is a big deal, even for somebody like Mahomes who doesn't throw off a stationary platform all the time. And this game is going to be weird because I really don't trust the running game of either team. Feels like mostly they're going to spread out and toss it around. There are ways to beat this team, beat the defenses on both sides. Although Buffalo's defense has looked pretty good.
Yeah.
If I had to go somewhere, I would probably just go to the Chiefs money line just because it feels like the safest route. I do like a couple prop bets. I like the over for Josh Allen's rushing yards at 34.5. Because I think they do a lot of the spread out receivers with him alone in the backfield, and he kind of supplements their running game most of the time. I also really like, do you remember the game they played, what was that, October, Bills Chiefs? It was a weird game. It was one of the better Clyde Edwards-Helaire games where he had, I think it was over 150 yards and a score or two. Demarcus Robinson led their team in receptions. The Bills defense did a pretty good job of funneling the passing away from Travis Kelce. So anytime score plus 350, Demarcus Robinson. I like that too. I feel like if the Bills defense is going to come out and play pretty well, maybe that gives Robinson a chance to find the end zone here. So those are the two prop bets I like. It really, and I whiffed on this last week because I thought that the Rams-Packers game was going to be a lot closer. Jared Goff actually looked really good despite the thumb surgery that he had, 3 weeks ago at the time of the game, 4 weeks ago. But Aaron Donald came out and just was hurt, just badly hurt. Clearly the ribs were a lot worse than they let on. And so I feel like it's a little bit of the same situation where this game, you could go away from it thinking, of course the Chiefs won. Why would I ever think anything else? But you could also go away thinking, wow, Mahomes is a lot more hurt than we thought.
Yep.
And I don't know, Tony Romo probably brought it up, 4 times before he got injured with the concussion and went out of the game, how much that toe was affecting him. It's going to be tough, especially when I don't think they can lead on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think they can hand it off a bunch of times.
No, and the crazy thing is that we may see a team in the Buffalo Bills completely abandon the run depending on how things play out. They've done it all season. And so if they get behind by a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, they may end up with 10 total rushes as a team by the time the game is done. I don't know. This game gives me similar vibes, strangely enough, to Alabama and Ohio State in the national title game, in that it could go to where this is a very close game. We could see one team pull away, but much like Ohio State, Kansas City, as you said, they've got those injuries that they got to keep an eye on.
I also can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, we're just waiting on this Buffalo Bills team to break out like they did at the end of the season, how their offense looked just like a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's still a young quarterback. There is a chance that just never happens, that they just never pull out the 41-point game. He's a really young quarterback. We know that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can. But
are you, if you're a Bills fan, are you worried about him having like an absolute like worst performance in a playoff game in team history type game?
I don't know. I do know that I really thought the Ravens defense was good, and they schemed up a lot of open balls last week, and he just missed them. You go back and watch that game, and there's a lot of plays that are there. They're there, and he missed them. And so maybe it gets fixed this week. The secondary for the Chiefs is not as good as the secondary for the Ravens, and I don't think they're going to be able to rush the passer as well, although they did have some moments last week against the Browns. But I don't know. It's so weird. You really could see some drastic swings either way for both of these teams. It's a hard one to guess. That's why I like sticking to the props this week. If you got to go somewhere, I would go with the Chiefs money line just because it feels a little safer. But I like the prop of the rushing yards for Josh Allen. That's minus 115 if you hit over, and plus 350 on Demarcus Robinson, who had a good game last time they played against the Chiefs. And they're going to be looking out for Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. He might be able to sneak out a touchdown. That's plus 350.
Yeah. I think those are a couple of good spots to go. Honestly, how many times do we see playoff games come down to a field goal? It seems like it happens quite a bit. So I would say the -3 is fine. I'm interested to see, sometimes we do see teams with high scoring offenses that run into each other and the defenses kind of went out. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that over under. I would love for this to be a more high scoring game, but would it shock me if we get like a 27-24? No.
Both of those are very on the table. That's why I stayed away from it.